Hello, this is Big Boss, Rescue Chief of Humane Emergency Animal Rescue. Welcome to our series, Animal Rescue Postmortem, where we analyze the good, the bad, and the ugly of animal rescues throughout the world.
Yeah, I'm not even sure how to begin this video. It's Big Boss, our Chief Carmack of Humane Emergency Animal Rescue. I came across this video that we're about to watch on YouTube, and I couldn't believe what I was seeing. In my case, or in my opinion, it's a case of people that do not know what they're doing, and in my estimation, as a former humane officer who went out and investigated animal cruelty and neglect cases, it is a case of animal cruelty and some other violations of Florida state statutes. So keep in mind, this incident happened in the state of Florida, and so I'm going to reference Florida laws in this video and talk about it from my perspective based on my experience. I've been working with animals either full-time or part-time since 1992, I believe, is when I first started working in an animal shelter as a kennel technician. And someone who's certified as a euthanasia technician and has literally euthanized thousands of animals over the years, working in animal shelters or other situations where I was working with animals and animals needed to be euthanized. Oftentimes I was the only person who could do it. So I have an incredible amount of experience at euthanizing animals of all species, from exotics to wildlife to domestic dogs, cats, anything all the way down to like rats. It's wide and varied. I don't consider myself an expert. I just consider myself somebody who has a lot of experience doing it, okay? So I'm trying to figure out how to present this video here. So I've got some stuff laid out. I'm going to present it the way I'm going to present it. I want you to know it's going to be a long video. The original video that we're going to sit through the entire video so you can see what happens in there and experience it through my eyes. A trained and experienced person who's worked with all these various species for many years. And why I'm saying what happened is inexcusable, and there's no way that the Flagler Sheriff's Department or the Fish and Wildlife Commission, Florida Fish and Wildlife Commission, can say there's no possible way we could have foreseen that a deer would need to be euthanized out in the field or anywhere else, and we just need more training. That excuse doesn't wash anymore. And anybody that, if you hear a law enforcement organization say that to you, you need to know what they're trying to hide. In my personal opinion, based on my experience at working firsthand with law enforcement, understand that they're trying to cover up ineptness or something. Because if somebody at the Fish and Wildlife Commission could not have foreseen that they would need to do a euthanasia of a deer out in the field, who's running that place? You can't have thought of that. One of the very first euthanasias I ever did was a deer out in the field. All right? So what's their excuse? And I had minimal training at that time, but I did it according to my training. Here, there's no humane euthanasia of standards of any kind that was followed in this video. The video they took themselves is proof of it. Okay, so I'm trying to set the stage here. Let's switch over to this video here, and I gotta go off of full screen because if I'm recording this, I want to make sure. There we go. All right. So you get to see some of the behind the scenes there. I want you to watch this video. Looks like I've got it muted. No, now it's muted. Okay, I believe this kind of idiotic behavior, which is illegal certainly in the state of Florida. I would imagine that it's illegal in all 50 states in the United States. Some idiot is trying to feed this deer, entice this deer over with an apple. But look at the way the deer is behaving already in this image, in this video. I believe this deer has already been fed by somebody. It just probably isn't this person, or it wouldn't be letting them get this close. This is not natural behavior for a deer. Its natural behavior is to run from predators. Humans are predators. They recognize us as predators, in my opinion. So the video we're about to switch over and watch, I believe, and it's confirmed by some of the stuff that the civilians in the video to follow say, that one of the neighbors raised the deer and they were feeding it. I don't know how more clear you can be than that. And so it resulted in the death of an animal that shouldn't have been euthanized. That's just, I don't even know what to say to that. So this is the kind of behavior right here that we see that results in the next video that we're about to watch. Okay, so let's cue up this video. Before we get into this video, let me switch over to this. Florida state statutes, all right? You can go up on the website and look at them. The first thing here is I couldn't find an actual law in the Florida statutes that addresses the feeding of wildlife. It's actually a rule. It's Rule Chapter 68A Alpha 4. You can go through there and read it yourself. I'm going to try to only be brief on some of this stuff because our video is going to be long. What takes place? All right, so that's 68A-4. Florida state statutes that actually address the penalties for that is 379.412. That's the FSS that addresses penalties for feeding wildlife and freshwater fish. Okay, there are some exceptions in there to that. But if you're interested and you want to read that, I'm making the point that people need to not feed wildlife here in the state of Florida, and because you end up with a situation like we're about to see. Now, my argument for animal cruelty is the following. 828.12, cruelty to animals. And it's my contention, let me get my note here, that they violated the Fish and Wildlife officer and the Sheriff's Department representative. I don't know if it's an officer or what the person's position is. On the scene, did the following. A person who unnecessarily overloads, overdrives, torments, deprives of necessary sustenance or shelter, and unnecessarily mutilates, in my opinion they did, mutilates or kills any animal, or causes the same to be done, or carries in or upon any vehicle, or otherwise any animal in a cruel and inhumane manner, commits animal cruelty. That's a statement. Commits animal cruelty, a misdemeanor of the first degree, punishable by the following. Number 2, a person who intentionally commits any act to any animal. Listen to the words. I said any act. Let me put my read glasses on. Sorry about the reflection. This is much better. Let me start over. Section 2. A person who intentionally commits an act to any animal, and that includes wildlife, or a person who owns or has the custody or control of any animals and fails to act, which results in the cruel death or excessive or repeated infliction of unnecessary pain or suffering, or causes the same to be done, commits aggravated animal cruelty, a felony of the third degree, punishable by. Okay? You will see this firsthand in this video. Alright, so let me check my notes. Alright, now we're going to go to prohibited acts. 828.2 828.24. 828.24 says, let me just look at my notes here. When I'm making a statement like this, remember, this is my opinion of the situation. If I was a humane officer and I was working in this county, and I was authorized by law to be investigating and saying something about these cases, you can bet that I would be all over the sheriff's department and Fish and Wildlife in the county that this is taking place on if I work there. But as it stands, there's no holds barred in this video anyway. So let's go over it. So 828.24, no person shall kill an animal in any way except by an approved humane method. I'm going to read that again. No person shall kill an animal in any way except by an approved humane method. Section 2. No person shall shackle or hoist with the intent to kill any animal prior to rendering the animal insensitive to pain. So we see sections, so we're going to go 828.12, cruelty to animals, sections 1 and 2. 828.24, sections 1 and 2. We're going to see that happen in this video. And then I've got 828 through 3. That's right. 828.23 defines humane methods. So we're going to go to 828.23, section 6. Humane method means A method whereby animal is rapidly and effectively rendered insensitive to pain by electrical or chemical means or by penetrative captive bolt or gunshot with appropriate caliber emplacement, or a method in accordance with ritual requirements by any religious faith whereby the animal suffers loss of consciousness by anemia of the brain caused by the simultaneous and instantaneous severance of the carotid arteries, plural, arteries, with a sharp instrument. Okay? We are going to see that. We're going to see a violation of that in this video, all right? And then I just go over this specifically because the Humane 828.22 Humane Slaughter Act, Humane Slaughter of Livestock Euthanasia requirements. They're just mentioning here that even though this is not livestock, it's a deer, it's Florida native wildlife. There are statutes on humane slaughter, okay? And so alright, I already kind of got ahead, but that's exactly where we are right now. So I just want to mention that as that, you know, there are statutes in the state of Florida that address that. They don't define it here necessarily. They leave it up to what's happening in other states. But in a moment, we're going to go right into this in just a moment here of exactly why I mentioned that. Okay, so now let's go over to the PDF, which... Oops, I closed it. Stand by. Okay, I'm back. I closed that, my mistake. All right, what we're going to do is reference a field guide that we actually keep in our vehicles so that if we're not going to do a euthanasia, for instance, let's say it's somebody, an animal that requires a gunshot wound or using a gun, firearm, to kill the animal, but the person that, our representative doesn't have a firearm, or we want law enforcement to do it because we're in the city or something like that, whatever the case is. This is a reference that we can quickly pull out, and we can do the markings on the animal and then direct whoever's going to shoot the animal to shoot it appropriately. All right, and so I just want you to see this is a publication here, Humane Euthanasia of Sick, Injured, and or Debilitated Livestock. What you can look here. This is put out by the University of Florida Extension. Okay, and we are going to scroll down the page here to where are we at? There with me. Okay. So this is where you mark the head for euthanasia of a deer out in the field to use a firearm with. Okay, and then you can see the landmarks here. We would use chalk. We've got like that sidewalk chalk that's got bright colors. We use that to quickly mark a spot on the head there, so that person can know exactly where to shoot. And if you're going to do this in the field, you should be just using these landmarks, draw an X right on the head of the animal, and then there's no guessing or like moving off the mark with your firearm, because you want to get that right. And then I've got the highlighted text here. The methods described for emergency euthanasia of a deer are similar to those described previously for cattle and small ruminants. Recommended positions and directing for firing of a penetrative captive bolt of gunfire. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to read that sentence. And then down here, in general, whenever wildlife are involved in highway accidents, the best advice is to contact the appropriate state authorities. Remember, this is written for people in Florida. In Florida, the Florida Fish and Wildlife Commission, their personnel are properly trained to handle these emergencies. Well, we're going to watch a video that proves that is not true, and that not all their personnel know what they're doing, and we'll see that one of the guys makes a clear statement of fact in there that they do not have the proper training to even shoot the deer in the head based on what the guy says. Okay, and then exanuation of animals. Now, one of the ways they attempted to kill this deer was to stick it in the neck with a sharp knife, inappropriately, as you'll see. But I want to go over exanuation because that is an accepted euthanasia method. However, let's read the very first paragraph here, and in it, it has some of the most important stuff that can be said here. Once the animal has been rendered unconscious, I'm going to read that sentence again, or that portion of the sentence again. Once the animal has been rendered unconscious, exanuation procedures should be initiated to ensure death by using a pointed, very sharp knife with a rigid blade at least 6 inches in length. Okay, now let's go down here. We'll drop down in this. Properly performed, blood should flow freely, with death occurring within a few minutes. Properly performed, blood should flow freely, with death occurring within a few minutes. Alright? We're going to see what happens here. Okay. Hey, buddy. I'm going to keep the volume down a little bit low.
Look at that. Look at that. Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna mute it for some of this. And then I'm going to talk while we're going here. This is an inappropriate use of a catch pole. You're trying to put a catch pole over an animal who has antlers. I'm telling you, this is a person, I don't care if he's been doing this for the last 50 years, doesn't know what he's doing. The proof is in this video. Okay, so now he's put a restraint device on the animal here. Let me stop this. I'm gonna pause this for just a minute. Actually, I'm just gonna let it keep rolling up to this 3 minutes and 40 seconds here. This is not an appropriate way to handle this call at all. This is an inappropriate use of a catch pole. This is exactly what's going to happen. If this buck was bigger than this guy is very likely that buck would have pulled that pole out of his hands and then been on the run with a catch pole on its neck. If I ever see you doing this out in the field, you're going to get a good chewing out from me. That's for sure. This is inappropriate use of a catch pole, period. How we would handle this call, I'm going to tell you while we're waiting for this to happen here. Now, what's going on?
Just put the lube down somewhere and see if we can get Throw it around his back legs or something. Here we go. Just stay down, stay down. No, let him calm down. Let him calm down.
Okay, he's got a deer that's on the end of a catch pole, and this guy is saying, "Oh, let him calm down." It's not going to calm down. It's just not going to calm down. It might wear itself out and run out of energy, but it's not going to calm down. It's going to have a flight response to this. I mean, I just cannot believe this person is out in the field dealing with animal issues. So I'm sorry I got to pause it here because I don't want to miss this mark here. And there's other things that you need to hear to say that they should have got into a position where all they had to do is follow this deer and then tranquilize it. Use chemical capture to catch this deer and then either euthanize it right in the field or taking it to a separate location and euthanized it there using appropriate methods. This guy who showed up has zero plan. He hasn't thought it through at all before he actually takes action. And if this is this guy's plan, this guy who's got the catch pole on this deer shouldn't be allowed to work with animals. Period. Says me, Flagler County Sheriff's Department. Alright, so his plan is to be unprepared every step of the way.
Oh, he's trying to get me now. I got a lariat in the back seat on the driver's side.
Okay, he said, if you couldn't hear that, he says he's got a lariat in the back seat on the driver's side of his truck. So he got out of the truck and started to initiate this call without even having the things that he thought that he might need for this. So now watch how this evolves. I had a hard time finding in the video where I could hear them talking about using exanguation. And if you don't know what that means bleeding to death, okay? Where they have a conversation about that. I just wanted you to hear that. So, according to his plan, he doesn't even have all the tools that he plans on using to do this. Now, what I should say is, this deer has allegedly attacked somebody from the neighborhood and then caused some puncture marks. And so his plan is to have the deer euthanized so they can check it for rabies. Okay, so, and there's not any problem with that. If we're going to do euthanasia, it just needs to be done appropriately. And then
Back seat. See it?
And then another thing, you can hear this guy's breathing. This guy's out of shape. Hardly anything happened here, and he's already having a hard time breathing.
Just put the lube down somewhere and see if we can throw it around his back legs or something. Here we go. Just stay down, stay down. Just put the lube right over his butt and see if he puts his legs around it or something.
We'll see if he puts his legs around it or something. This guy doesn't need to be doing any kind of animal control functions. This is the guy's plan. Well, it gets worse. It just gets worse from here,
He
folks.
steps over it or something. Don't tighten it up yet until he steps into it.
Pause it for just a moment here. I want you to listen and tell me if you can hear where they formulate the plan to stick a knife in its neck. and use that method to try and euthanize the deer that is conscious. Remember what I said before about exannuation.
Well, there you go. They got partway on them.
Once the animal's been rendered unconscious. Okay.
Yeah, wrap them around that pole. Come around me. Go over. Bam.
So I don't know if you understand what he's communicating here. He's trying to get this Fish and Wildlife officer on the scene with him also here. So you got the Flagler Sheriff's Department guy here with the catch pole, and now he's instructed a Fish and Wildlife guy to lasso its rear legs and then wrap the Lorate around a telephone pole. This is unbelievable. You hear that weird sound in the background? Kind of sound like that. That's this deer struggling to breathe. Because he's got the catch pole on too tight.
Got it tight?
Hear that?
Hear that end? Hear the other end? Okay. Okay. All right, he's down. And we'll do his neck and we'll pump him. Just do that.
Okay. I just heard for the first time. You want to do him in the neck, or you want to... The guy doesn't have a plan. And, you know, law enforcement, all I had to make a split-second decision. If you having to make split-second decisions, you're not the person that I want armed with a firearm out in the street. I want people thinking through the plan first. I want them to think through that plan before they start acting. Because, like in life-threatening situations where seconds count, in emergency medicine and firefighting, we don't make split-second decisions. We make thoroughly thought-out decisions. This thing from law enforcement, like they had to make split-second decisions. If that's clearly what this guy's doing, because he's not thinking the plan through.
How good I can hold him. I don't know how good I can.
Okay, it's just coming up. I'm going to go through a timeline here real quick because it's going to happen fairly rapidly. At 3 minutes and 40 seconds, the knife is stuck in the neck of a conscious deer. It's conscious. At 3 minutes and 48 seconds, the handler, the guy with the catch pole, you can hear him clearly say, "Choking the shit right now." Alright? So let's let that play through because it'll happen pretty rapidly here.
Now, I don't know if my rope's in the way.
Your rope's not. It's around the neck right there.
I'm choking the shit out of it right now.
Okay. That's what he said. Just choke. See, if I go back to that. Choking the shit right now. Here it comes.
I'm choking the shit out of it right now.
Okay? Pause it. Choking the shit right now. I almost think I heard him say out of him right now. With a catch pole. That will always be inappropriate and against the law. 828.12. Just so you know, Flagler Sheriff's Department and Fish and Wildlife, if I was investigating this case, I'd testify against you on this.
This is what happened when people feed deer around here.
Okay, when people feed deer around here, and I agree with that's inappropriate, and the animal's probably going to have to be euthanized because it's not going to fear people like it should. But this is not the outcome. Period. This is not acceptable. And the other thing I don't think I said is the law enforcement is not exempt from animal cruelty laws or humane euthanasia laws. They are not exempt from them. There's no place in the Florida state statutes that exempt any member of law enforcement from inhumane acts against animals. Okay.
Now we got to put a deer down because somebody wants to feed them.
Better get one of my gloves.
Okay.
Okay. So listen to how out of shape that guy is. He hasn't been doing anything except holding the catch pole still for a few minutes, the last couple minutes, and he can hardly even breathe. At 4 minutes and 46 seconds, he makes a false statement over the radio to their dispatch about currently fighting the deer. Maybe that's his interpretation of it. If that's his interpretation of it, then he's delusional. 4 minutes, 46 seconds. Coming up.
Range 11, Flagler.
Range 11.
FWC on scene. We're currently fighting with this deer.
That's an outright lie. That is an outright lie. It's a false statement. He's doing what I see a lot of people do in law enforcement over the years, exaggerating. So look, that's right, it wasn't around its rear legs. They got it around the torso here. And then look, you can see the Lorraine is wrapped around the pole here enough to just pull it up in here. Just watch how this evolves. So the reason I wanted you to note this is that at 3 minutes and 40 seconds, that's when you can barely see it, but you can see the knife go into the deer's neck. Okay, that's when the clock starts ticking for euthanasia. This is just disgusting and inexcusable, in my opinion. These people shouldn't be anywhere near animals. Okay, and then at 5 minutes and 33 seconds, the deer's going to come up over here, and you will clearly see some of the hemorrhaging coming from the neck. When I first watched this video, I didn't realize, because I didn't hear them coming up with a plan to stick it in the neck with a knife. So I thought that maybe during its fighting, its antler, it poked itself with its antler. You can see how far its neck can come around there. So look at how well this guy's plan is. This guy's an idiot, in my opinion.
There you go, lay down.
What's he even doing with handling animals in any capacity? If this is the best plan he could come up with, he shouldn't be out in the field.
The sad part was we got to make sure there's nothing wrong inside.
No, the sad part is this guy showed up on the scene. And listen to the stuff that he says to the public. So we're at 5:33, and then he's just about to make a statement right here. He says it cannot be shot in the head because of testing. Shooting can affect euthanasia. Shooting can affect rabies testing of the brain. There's only one way to do rabies testing if you're not familiar with it. That's to kill the animal, cut its head off, and then send its head to the local health department or a state health department where they can slice it up into thin slices and check it for rabies. That is the only way to do it. That's why we stress certain precautions in dealing with animals here, so we don't have to kill them unnecessarily. All right, let's get on with the video.
So that's why we can't shoot them in the head.
Yeah, Walmart receiving a panic alarm from the liquor store.
He's draining pretty good. He slowed back down a little bit, but he jumped. Well, I say that. I tell you, man, the one that's cut off is real sharp.
Yeah.
The sad part.
Okay, at 6:11 we can see the hemorrhaging again, and then let's go
we
and
got
play
to
them.
make sure there's nothing wrong inside, so that's why we can't shoot him in the head.
This guy doesn't. He can't even explain to the basics to the public. We can't shoot it in the head for rabies testing. It could drastically affect the results. Something wrong on the inside.
Walmart receiving a panic alarm from the
This
liquor
is
store.
disgusting.
He's draining pretty good. He slowed back down a little bit, but he jumped. Well, I say that.
Horn got me pretty good, not bad.
I tell you, man, the one that's cut off is real sharp.
Yeah. All right, I can see it coming down.
It's coming. It's coming out. It's just not.
We'll just let him do his thing.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. From 3 minutes and 40 seconds to 6 minutes and 40 seconds, where we are right now in this video,
Watching it bliss.
this deer has full strength
So
to
his wife
fight.
is right there. She said he went to one of the clinics, not the hospital. What do you say? You got him in a hand a couple places, and where else? A leg?
But now 12.
Okay. Right. So with him being seemed like he was very friendly because he wasn't afraid of us. Makes me wonder if he just wasn't wanting to play, not so much attack, but play. But that's the problem, when a deer plays, it's different than me and you playing, They can be very dangerous, and people feeding them, this is what happens. Yeah. Yeah.
Good job on the lasting.
Oh, this?
This.
Oh, yeah.
This is these
You work
people.
yourself out. You just,
These people don't have any idea what they're doing. This is animal suffering. This is animal cruelty.
it's going to make it worse for you.
Section 1, Section 2.
Huh?
We don't have tranquilizers, ma'am.
Okay, this is where I want you to listen. I'm gonna go back and she says, can't you use tranquilizers?
Huh?
We don't have tranquilizers, ma'am.
We don't have tranquilizers. I can understand why Florida Fish and Wildlife doesn't have every officer that's equipped with a tranquilizer gun. Go price out dart guns for doing chemically capture out in the field, and how much it costs to maintain all of the medications and the equipment. You'll see why. They would be spending tens of thousands of dollars to equip them, and not everybody needs to know how to do that. I've been doing it since 2002 or 2003 somewhere is when I've got my certification, and so not everybody needs to know how to do chemical immobilization, but somebody needs to know how to do it. That's what would have made this call appropriate here. And you can see there's quite a bit of blood down here in the grass. It's hard to tell, but there's quite a bit of blood down there in the grass. Let me make sure. And then the other thing I wanted to have, I had a note there, is that proper euthanasia won't affect rabies testing. It won't mess with rabies testing at all. So if you're using any the anesthetic drugs to knock the animal down, just to make it unconscious, and then the euthanasia drug, sodium pentobarbital, it's not going to affect any rabies testing.
We don't know if there's something chemically wrong with him, so we can't do that, and we can't shoot him in the head.
That's just. I'm glad that I missed that on my notes, but I'm glad that I just heard that. So chemically, we won't know if chemically wrong with it, so we can't use tranquilizers because of that. This is demonstrating how uneducated this guy actually is. that's got the catch a pole on. Remember, all the vocals except, you get this fish and wildlife guy over here on the left, and then we're going to have another guy come in here pretty soon. But that he just said that. I missed that in my notes. He doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. It's just simple as that. The guy's uneducated. I'm not saying he's stupid. He's just ignorant.
It'd be like a dog with rabies. You can't shoot him ahead. If you do, you can't test him.
Okay, now he just changed it. Okay, so he went from we can't tranquilize him because it'll affect the chemical makeup or something in his mind to we can't shoot it in the head because it'll affect the rabies testing. I mean, he doesn't even know why it'll affect the rabies testing. He just been told that by somebody. And he hasn't either looked into it or asked more questions from somebody who's knowledgeable. All right, and then it's 8 minutes and 20 seconds. Somebody's going to say, says feeding deer, wild deer like this ends up with what we see in this video. This is true, except not this. This should not be happening. This act of, this deliberate animal cruelty here. I'm so disgusted by
There's
this.
probably nothing wrong with him other than he was wanting to play, but because people...
This guy, he doesn't know whether that deer was being aggressive or wanted to play. You can't tell that out in the field like that anywhere. You can see when deer are playing with each other, but just because a deer approaches you doesn't mean it's playing.
I think it's pretty to feed them. This is what happens.
I mean,
Please let all the neighbors know, do not feed the deer. Not only is it against the law, but...
Okay, so we are at almost 8 minutes and 40 seconds here into the video. Remember, they stuck the knife in its neck at 3 minutes and 40 seconds. Now we're at 8 minutes and 30 seconds. The deer's still alive.
Flagler unit in the area of Payment Hardware, 652 North Ocean Boulevard. Reference to a signal 12, it's going to be a truck and trailer. White work truck.
Oh, God, yeah, I know. I got the call first, and that's when I told him to call, but I was coming to help out one way or the other.
Okay, he was coming to insert himself into this incident one way or the other. Look how this ends up. This is... If I rolled up on this scene, they'd get a good chewing out from me, and I'd take this thing over. And if they didn't let me euthanize the deer properly,
okay, we can go back there and put him down. Well, he was right there next to my house.
then I'd be insistent to the DA make a case against these guys.
And I'm not guaranteeing.
And if they didn't, I'd make it public like I'm doing now, but I'd make a much bigger stink to the local news agencies because this is ridiculous. Okay, and then 11 minutes in, and I mean we got a few minutes here. At 11 minutes and 6 seconds, we can still see the respiratory activity in the abdominal area. Okay, and then soon. I'm sorry to make you go through this, but I think it's important that we watch every single second of this footage here so we can see what is taking place in this video here and what these two people who shouldn't be working with animals are doing. Like, has this guy done this before out in the field and we just don't know about it? The reason I'm making this video sort of out of sequence, this is going to be part of our Volume 10 series, but because I saw local news coverage, I'm like, I should just go ahead and make a video about this and get it out there. And I am going to make sure that the local news agencies hopefully see this video because it's disgusting.
Okay.
Somebody
Somebody
should be disciplined.
You would be notified.
For
We're
this.
probably going to have to get your information, your husband's information, and stuff like that too.
So,
What do they say happened? We got.
Can you come a little closer?
No one else.
I'm going to move that off the bottom of the screen there. I'm sorry, I forget that stupid thing rolls up there. That bar rolls up. Look, you can see the abdomen movement there. See him breathing? That's him breathing still.
As he was pushing him away, that's when he was getting his hands damaged? Yeah. Okay.
See that respiratory activity?
That's what I'm saying. He did get poked by the horns, though, not just choked. So he's got injuries to his leg.
I'm going to pause this for just a moment here, and I'm going to go back to this. So 3 minutes 40 seconds. We're at 11 minutes and 24 seconds. Properly performed, blood should flow freely with death occurring within a few minutes. I've seen death occur in about 2 to 3 minutes at most. Look where we are. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 8 minutes? This is disgusting. Alright, so watch what happens here. At 11 minutes and 51 seconds, I want you to watch something here. We're going to repeat it a couple of times because I want you to see something here.
He's got some puncture wounds from the horns on his leg, she said. And he's got some
11:51.
injuries on the back of his hand where he probably got pushed over because she said he was down and the deer just came out and ran, knocked him over. And then started, horning him a little bit.
Doug, I ain't never seen be able to put a catch pole on a deer before.
Well,
11:51, the guy says, I've never seen a catch pole put on a deer before. Let's go back to that for a second here. Where's that little dot? Listen to that.
Doug, I ain't never seen be able to put a catch pole on a deer before.
well, like I said, he come up to me. We were together, and he come right to the door and sniffed me.
What's that got? Listen to this guy mumbling now, trying to cover his tracks.
So I said, well, he's not, and he didn't like crazy. He acted like he was used to being hand fed.
Not his first time.
No, it's not his first time. He saw. He wasn't afraid of us at all. He thought I was playing. Otherwise,
So the one guy from Fish and Wildlife says he's never seen a deer on a catch pole before, and then this guy just sidesteps it. And instead of sticking with that, this is how I am as an investigator, and I see something that's not right, I won't let that person, because the person will jump, hop, jump, skip around, go back and forth, hide under the truck, get back up from under the truck, do whatever they can to avoid answering the question, but I won't let it go. And I wouldn't have let that question go until he answered it. Because I'm going to go back for a second here. I want you to listen to his answer. Alright, so listen to this. Here we go.
Be able to put a catch pole on a deer before.
well, like I said, he come up to me. We were together, and he come right to the door and sniffed me.
He's whatted him? What did he say? He's stissed me or something? I don't understand what he said.
So I said, well, he's not, and he didn't like crazy. He acted like he was used to being hand fed.
Not his first time.
No, it's not his first time. He saw.
Listen to that bumbling. The guy knows he's done something wrong here. Because the Fish and Wildlife guy's right. I've never seen a catch pole used on a deer before, because we don't need a catch pole to be used on a deer. We use chemical immobilization, chemical capture.
Oh, he wasn't afraid of us at all. He thought I was playing. Otherwise, you'd never be able to do that. That sucker would have ran me down. And that's sad. It's really sad to have a deer that pretty and have something like this happen to him.
Yeah. When you show up on the scene, that guy shows up on the scene.
Put some
Better,
alcohol on these.
you better start covering your ass.
Or something. Oh, we had the rescue come up and dock you up a little bit? Sure? Okay.
I'll take him to Gainesville.
He's doing that fight or flight thing, and I think he's hopefully getting tired enough that,
Yeah.
with the loss of blood,
okay.
that maybe. But he don't seem to be draining as much now.
Look, I get the best poke I could do.
No, I'm saying he was draining pretty good when he stood up, but now
Because you didn't do it. He's
his tail's wagging.
let's stop that for a second. He's referring to, he says he's still draining. The guy's referring to the animal is still bleeding at 12 minutes and 56 seconds. Remember, they stuck him in the neck at 3 minutes and 40 seconds. So he's still bleeding because they didn't do it appropriately, and they did it on a conscious deer. I can't
His
just.
eyes are alert.
And now I spoke a little out of turn there. The other Fish and Wildlife guy doesn't show up on the scene until 16 minutes and 44 seconds.
My gosh, it is hell.
Our communication was great. You go.
And then this guy with the catch pole,
absolutely.
he changes the story again. It appears to me that he changes the story. Okay, 13 minutes and 46 seconds.
if that'll help.
He's going to make a statement about it's hard to do a live animal. And, I mean, I'm guessing he's talking about euthanasia by exanimation on a conscious animal. It's supposed to be unconscious. That's why it's difficult. And it's when the animal's unconscious, you can cut the carotid arteries appropriately, but by doing this. And then let me go back to. I'm gonna pause this. I'm gonna go. Let's go back to this. Let's go back to here. It is. No person shall kill any animal in any way except by an approved humane method. Excuse me. And also here, number 2. No person shall shackle or hoist it with intent to kill any animal prior to rendering the animal insensitive to pain. What do we see in this video? The animal isn't up by its legs. It's not shackled by its legs, but it's been attached to this pole here. This is so amazingly bad. How are we in 2023? My head's exploding. How are we in 2023 and this is going on?
Yeah.
When I've been doing chemical immobilization and chemical capture on animals and euthanasia on animals,
I mean, you almost have to cut their head off.
and never had to have this happen. What did he say? Had to cut their head off.
On that pole, though. My gosh, it is hell.
Our communication was great. You go, I'll go high. You go low.
Yeah, absolutely.
Tell you what, it wore me out for a hot minute there.
You know, I could probably put some electrical tape around his legs, if that'll help.
No, why would you do that? When he's talking about shackling them, there he's talking about breaking the law even more. I missed that detail when I first went through this video.
It really started pumping out when he stood up. When he stood up, it really started doing its
I
thing.
can see it trickling down.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, I mean, do we want to do it fast? Absolutely, but it's kind of hard on a live animal.
Yes, it's real hard. I mean, you almost have to cut their head off to do it right.
Oh my gosh. Did you hear that? They are talking about doing exanimation, all right, death by exanimation, and listen to what these guys said. I don't know how I missed that.
It really started pumping out when he stood up. When he stood up, it really started doing its
I
thing.
can see it trickling down.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, I mean, do we want to do it fast? Absolutely, but it's kind of hard on a live animal.
Yes, it's real hard.
Oh, this is that mark that I mentioned. So I did have this on there.
I mean, you almost have to cut their head off to do it right.
That guy doesn't know what he's talking about. The guy does not know what he's talking about.
I saw the machete back there, but
The animal can be alive, but it has to be unconscious.
or right now to fire a round off now that we've got it contained. But
Yeah.
This is... Oh my God.
But if you don't hit the spinal right, then you end up doing a second shot. And they go, yeah, shoot that thing 15 times. Yeah.
If you don't know what you're doing, you have to shoot it 15 times.
Oh, heck yeah. Those lariats? Oh, yeah.
that was pretty good on the fly training on my part, I thought. What do I do with this thing? Just make a loop and throw it over the back.
The loop's already there. That's a lasso for cowboys. The loop's already there. You just, yeah.
Did it? Got his midsection.
Yeah. What'd she think he's at, the rodeo?
If it does pull, you're not burning your hands.
Didn't have those at first either.
Yeah, those.
Yes, ma'am. We'll be in contact shortly once we get this done.
We want to get him done first, and then he'll let you know.
Yes.
Do you have to go pick your husband up, or somebody bringing him here?
That's where I was like this.
Okay.
So he didn't want me driving.
Oh, he drove himself? Oh, wow. Because I don't get a bunch of clear notes. It sounded like the neighbor was taking them, and then it sounded like they didn't know if he was going or not. And,
Yeah, no.
oh, absolutely. It's better safe than sorry with something like that, especially when it comes to wild animals. Yes. When are these guys going rut? November?
When they what?
When are they going to rut? November?
Yeah, I think so. You would think.
He didn't act like he was.
They don't know. They're just making
He was
it
laying
up.
down in the shade looking at us, wagging his tail, and I called him, and he stood up.
Okay, we're coming up on
thing and put my hand on. He just come and then put his head down. Like,
15 minutes and 40 seconds. That's 12 minutes. This deer is supposedly laying here bleeding to death.
I don't think it was a
Animal cruelty, folks. This is what it looks like.
But we stopped the dude.
Yeah, you still got to do it. Yeah.
Like a Charlie 220 average check.
Well,
Okay. He's just about to say something about a trophy. Listen to this.
when you take him to games, they'll tell him I want the horns. One of us needs to get the horns for a trophy. Hey, we had a fight this lady by.
We had to fight this thing by hand. Listen to the guy exaggerate here. He put up, that deer put up a minimal amount of fight.
Yeah, we did. That's right.
And now he needs to collect a trophy.
I'll put them with the other ones I got on the dashboard. Me and Dak got those because it was a roadkill.
All right, Ian's here. One more person to help hold it, because if I can hold this, then and we
Okay, so here comes the other Fish and Wildlife guy. This is going to get interesting now.
can pull the head around.
Yeah, I can pull the head around as long as somebody's holding that in.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That way, or even if you stretch the head out so he can't.
Okay,
jump
16
up.
minutes and 44 seconds. Pay attention here.
US 106, Fort Tactic, Papa Delta, India 70.
Here's the other Fish and Wildlife guy coming up on the right side of the screen.
Wait for him to try to bleed out. I just got to cut on his throat.
1644.
Not yet. What's up?
He cut them. We're just seeing how long it's going to take him to bleed out.
How far out are you?
We couldn't put him.
Not good putting a round in the head.
We couldn't. Well, I mean, not now. I mean, where he was at, we couldn't shoot him at all.
Alright, so it's 16 minutes and 44 seconds. This guy here, this Fish and Wildlife guy here on the right shows up and asks, is it dead yet? Well, listen to how he answers. And he changes his story. So, now, well, we couldn't shoot him because it was between a building. This guy is trying to cover his tracks. Let's go back here. 16 minutes and 44 seconds. And then I also want you to
He cut them. We're just seeing how long it's going to take him to bleed out.
How far out are you?
We couldn't put him.
Not good putting a round in the head.
We couldn't. Well, I mean, not now. I mean, where he was at, we couldn't shoot him at all.
oh, we couldn't. We can't now. Well, we couldn't shoot him because of where he was at. Listen to that.
We're just seeing how long it's going to take him to bleed out.
We're going to see how long it takes to bleed out. Man.
How far out are you?
We couldn't put
Not
him.
good putting a round in the head.
We couldn't. Well, I mean, not now. I mean, where he was at, we couldn't shoot him at all.
Are they good without shooting him right here?
Alright, watch this. Watch this guy's body language here. Yeah, I tell you what, if you've been around somebody who wasn't telling you the truth, this is what your body language is. If you've ever, just recall to yourself, watch what happens to this guy's body language. I've had this happen to me. This is something that's really important that I can't convey the importance of paying attention to your body when you're on the scene of something and your body reacts a specific way. Do not ignore that. It's telling you something and you should pay attention to it. Watch this guy's body language here. Watch what happens to him. His whole body shifts because he knows he's not hearing the truth.
He cut them. We're just seeing how long it's going to take him to bleed out.
How far out are you?
Did you see that?
We couldn't put him.
Really subtle.
Bleed out.
Watch this.
How far out are you?
See that? See that shift in the shoulders? Watch that.
He cut them.
Watch
Just
this.
seeing how long
Right
it's
here.
going to take him to bleed out.
How far out are you?
We
You ever
couldn't
react?
put him.
Not good putting a round.
You ever reacted to somebody telling you a lie when that happens? Those are the kind of things you should be paying attention to in your own body. When somebody's lying to you, your body will react to it. You won't even I've had that happen to me before, whoa, and then realize that person's lying to me. And I'm talking about people who have murdered somebody. So pay attention to your body language, to your own body. All right?
We couldn't. Well, I mean, not now. I mean, where he was at, we couldn't shoot him at all.
Are they good without shooting him right here? I mean, it's damn near dead.
But I mean, it's just fucking.
Yes. It's a matter of, do we try to finish slicing the throat? And I didn't have my
I'm saying we put one in the head.
Can't put it in the
You
head.
can't put it in the head because it's got to go to
If they
the.
want it.
Yeah.
It's got to go to Gaines.
Put it behind. Can we put it behind the? I'm good if you guys are. Just put it behind that shoulder.
Either that or continue trying to slice through its neck.
Okay, so this guy over here that just arrived on scene knows something's wrong. We're going to find out. He's going to start questioning things and then just listen to what happens. But remember, his body language did that, and now he was already ready to shoot it in the head. All right, so let's go to it. It's 17 minutes and 55 seconds. Listen to the rationalization when the handler, and I mean the guy that's got the catch pole, when it's easy to tell a newly arrived officer an issue. It's easy to tell the newly arrived officer has an issue with what he's seeing. That's my note there. All right, so it's coming up. 17 minutes and 55 seconds.
Where he's, I mean, you can probably see it now that I'm holding him up.
That's all I can
If
get
you're on
on.
that side, you should be able to see a pretty good hole.
Just wrong by 1037.
Yeah.
I'm going to stop that for a second. Just because you stick a big hole in an animal's neck doesn't mean you've connected with a carotid artery.
When he stood,
They can fight for a while. That's the
oh yeah, when he stood up, it was draining really good. But once he lay down, and it started getting calm, he quit fighting us. But he was fighting us pretty good. That fight or flight deal.
The only thing I think is if we put one behind his shoulder, hopefully it'll bleed out quicker.
It's up to you guys. Like I said, where he was at, there was no way we could do it.
Yeah, and that's what I was worried about. I was like, man, we're not gonna be able to.
He was in there. You got houses all around. Then it was in front of the house in the garage door. He come out here. He walked right up to me when I put this thing on him. But once he got cinched up, it was on.
I can tell this guy here on the right that just showed up on the scene. He's bothered by what he's seeing. You can just read it in his body language and the way he's questioning things. So I want to go back to the timeline again real quick. 17 minutes and 55 seconds. Listen to the rationalization when the handler gets questioned. At 18 minutes and 4 seconds, the fight or flight deal. He uses the word deal. The handler talks about didn't occur until that didn't occur until he tightened the catch pole around the deer's neck. Okay? And then at 18 minutes and 20 seconds, it's stated by the handler that they couldn't shoot him because he was between the houses, using that as a justification for not shooting it after removing it from the homes. So he's using that as a justification why they couldn't shoot it after they removed it from between the homes. Do you see the disconnect there? He's like, I forgot what the word is. He's conflating the two together. He's putting the two together to try and justify his actions. And then 18 minutes and 25 seconds, once again validating the fact that he created the flight or fight situation. All right, so we are at 1832. So I'm going to run that back for about a minute.
The only thing I think is if we put one behind his shoulder, hopefully it'll bleed out quicker.
It's up to you guys. Like I said, where he was at, there was no way we could do it.
Yeah, and that's what I was worried about. I was like, man, we're not gonna be able to.
He was in there. You got houses all around. Then it was in front of the house in the garage door. He come out here. He walked right up to me when I put this thing on. But once he got cinched up, it was on.
It was on.
Looking out the window, are they?
They've been people going by. They're watching and everything else.
Okay, so the decision.
This person where they got attacked?
Yeah.
The decision's about to.
She's home, but he's not. He went to the clinic.
Who that is?
That captain?
Or lieutenant, maybe?
Or investigator?
I don't see her looking out the window. I'm thinking we just put one in behind the shoulder. Because it's going to bleed for a while. That's the problem with that.
Okay, so he said it's going to bleed for a while. That's the problem with that. I can't tell if he's referring to a gunshot wound to the heart, or if he's talking about the exsanguination, the stick to the neck. No, it's not. That shows a level of ignorance by the statement. Because even if you shoot an IC shot, anybody who's been deer hunting that shoots that chest shot know that they can be up for a moment, but they're not up for lengths of period of time. And remember, we're talking about a shot to the heart, not just a shot to the chest. I'm talking about a heart shot specifically. They won't be up very long. They can't be up very long. The heart will not be pumping blood. Okay, you have to understand anatomy and physiology. Okay.
Yes.
Sorry, and then let me jump in here. At 20 minutes and 48 seconds, that's when there's a gunshot to the chest. That's what it appears to me. And we end up with a flight or flight response.
He can back right up here and block.
I-95 southbound, like me.
Does Cruz still work our area? Oh, that is Cruz. I didn't try to call him because they told me he moved. Of course, he was the only one that for some reason wasn't in my phone, and he always is. It was funny. I couldn't get a hold of nobody, and all of a sudden I'll get called by everybody.
So I'm just gonna pause it here for a moment. This is a typical behavior that we'll see in the emergency services kind of. I don't know how to generalize that. By personnel that are in emergency services, when this guy already knows that he's done something wrong here, and so he's trying to act like, well, I'm buddy with that person and that. I used to see this a lot of times when people are just about to get arrested out in the field. Oh, but don't you know I'm friends with, officer whoever, and, so you can't arrest me because I know somebody. And so he's trying to, that's what it sounds like he's trying to do to me.
Especially if you guys want to shoot it, we could drag his head
He's
down
going to
here.
back up and block this.
We could drag the head down here so you're shooting into the berm.
Okay.
Everything they're doing is
Or he's
inappropriate.
kind of shooting in the berm
It's not an
too,
accepted
really.
euthanasia method. The way that they're doing it. Exanguination is the animal has to be
I
unconscious
know, but I
first.
guess they want to test it and see, make sure, I don't think there's anything wrong with him other than being hand-fed, but
Like this guy knows anything.
he don't have the energy and the spunk that he had, that's for sure.
Well, really, watch this.
Oh, yeah, you
I was
missed
going
that.
to say, it looks like he put up a little fight.
Oh, he did. He ran me all over this place. Because when he couldn't pull loose, he tried to push into me.
You hear that?
Yeah. No.
Oh, let me know but right before you get ready to do it.
Pulling right behind you, Cody, man.
All right, let me know before you do it.
Okay, 20 minutes, 48 seconds. 20 minutes, 48 seconds.
Branch a little Flagler.
Well, I guess it wasn't that close to death, was it?
He's going to be putting his animal down. If you hear a gunshot in this area, it's going to be us.
I'm going to go put some alcohol on that cut here, if you don't mind.
Yeah, actual gunshots don't sound like anything like the stupid crap they show in the movies. So, that deer's still fighting. He's still alive. You can see his tail moving.
Down the woods one time, not even thinking about the echo.
Alright, so at 21 minutes and 27 seconds, this Fish and Wildlife officer says he would have shot the deer behind the ear. Once again, I'm going to say this demonstrates the level of ignorance that the officers have at proper euthanasia techniques, because that would not be an accepted, recommended way to euthanize the deer. It's just not. That is not how it's done.
Dude, my ears are ringing for a day.
And see, I carry a 22 with me, so when I shoot him in the head, it's not that loud, and it does.
Yeah.
But for something like this, I wasn't going to try
That's the
that.
problem. I'm glad I didn't pull it by myself. I would have shit right behind the ear.
Yeah, I think Ramsey or Miller.
You hear that? If I would have been by myself, I would have shot him right behind the ear. Listen to that again.
And it does.
Yeah.
But for something like this, I wasn't going to try
That's the
that.
problem. I'm glad I didn't pull it by myself. I would have shit to it right behind the ear.
Yeah, I think Ramsey or Miller, one of them told me, hey, if I could put it down, but don't shoot it in the head. And I said, no. And I called dispatch limit. I said, where's deer's at? And at the time, he could not be shot at all.
This is probably second rut. And they probably feed this deer.
Okay, at 22 minutes and 32 seconds, I have a note that says you can still see signs of life by the movement of the tail.
The guy came up and said it belongs to the guy at 29 something. He told him, he said, belongs to him. He was going to make an arrangement to have him taken to a farm somewhere because they've been feeding the sucker out here.
Oh, I wouldn't. Dude, this thing doesn't just come in someone's backyard.
No, it's been, the lady said it's been staying in some woods over there, but I asked him, the guy come up and told him, it belongs to that guy at 20, and I'll tell you who it belongs to. He's been raising this thing and feeding it.
Been raising this thing and feeding it. Remember what I said at the beginning of the video. There's the validation right there that I referred to.
And you can tell, because he come right up to me back there and sniffed me and everything.
That's why it's that rut. It's probably second rut right now.
I didn't know it wasn't even into the first rut yet.
Oh, man.
Oh, yeah.
Right in
It was a while ago.
August. Oh, I thought so. Well, what don't one come
22:32 coming up. Watch for the tail.
It's all done by that time.
Oh. Hey, what was that? Who was that guy? He said owned that deer. 29 what? I couldn't hear him.
Oh, damn it.
Right here.
This stupid player.
I thought so.
Alright, if I do any kind of movement with the mouse, that bar shows up down at the bottom. I'm sorry, folks. Okay, watch for that tail movement down there next to the telephone
He said
pole.
owned that deer. 29 what?
See it?
I couldn't hear him. I heard
Shot right here.
No.
It looks like its leg moved.
Yeah, somewhere in here. Somewhere real near here. Yeah.
That's why this guy got.
Said he was going to try and make arrangements to get him to a farm somewhere or something. Yeah.
Okay, at 23 minutes and 1 second, I think somebody from the public asked how come you can't dart it. And the answer is like, you can't dart it. The answer, can't you dart it? And the answer is no. My question is, why not? Really, why not? You can't call somebody up that knows how to do it, like Humane Emergency Animal Rescue, and say, hey, look, we need to get this deer darted over here. Can you come over here and help us out? All right? That's one of the reasons we exist, folks, is so that an organization like ours is dedicated to emergency responses. We would consider this an emergency response and use chemical capture to get this animal under control. It's perfectly... That's the first thing I'm going to revert to, is this. All right, so coming up, 2301.
Oh, I fussed all these people. I said, see, this is what happens when you feed deer. Now we got to do something like this.
The alligator.
Can't you dart it? Can't you just dart? Oh, that's terrible. Can't you just dart? I said, no, ma'am. That's why we tell you. Not only is it against...
No, ma'am. Like, what? You can't dart an animal. This guy's an idiot. I hate to be that way on these post-mortems, to call out somebody like that, because it's usually not about a pointing a finger, but sometimes it absolutely must be done. This person shouldn't be working with animals. He just shouldn't. Alright, so at 23:13, we can still see the deer is fighting. It's not dead.
Long, but now we have to... I said, not only is it gets long, we're going to ruin a perfectly good deer.
See it fighting? So it's been stuck in the neck.
Yeah,
It's been shot. Okay, at 23:31, they're going to stick it in the neck again. Okay, there he is, sticking it in the neck.
That's what I tried to do the first time there.
I believe that's a Fish and Wildlife guy. I don't know, I can't tell.
At the same time, too, but I was lucky. He's lucky he got what he did.
Alright, someone else that my school.
Yeah, that's going to be the guy that got attacked, probably.
Okay, and then at 4 minutes and 24 seconds, man that was gored by the deer asked did they tranquilize the deer. And then he makes a false statement that it can't be done. There's nobody in Flagler County that can tranquilize an animal? No, nobody? Really?
Sorry, bud.
I feel bad for the struggling.
I'm not choking them, so.
No, not you know what I'm saying. Like a Terminator deer.
Well,
The person that was... Okay.
how's your legs? And she said he got you in the legs?
I got like 9 spots.
9 spots.
Did you get any stitches?
I just cleaned it, just like went in like this, so they go...
Oh, kind of. Up to, okay. Oh, yeah, he's strong.
He's fighting. He's fighting. He ain't done.
23 to 24 steps.
No. We don't have tranquil.
At that point, you can't do that. No.
At what point can't you tranquilize the deer? When? When is that not acceptable to tranquilize the deer? This is... You understand why I am actually going in on this individual? Because it is such an egregious level of ignorance here. It's unimaginable that somebody like this is out here working with animals in a law enforcement role. I mean, how is that possible? All right, it's 2023. Okay, so let's let this play out.
Yes.
I mean, it's sad. I know it's nice to do stuff like that, but this is what happens, you know? No, I'm just saying.
No.
But anybody, you know.
Okay, at 25 minutes and 9 seconds, the handler checks for corneal reflex. So that's appropriate to check for death in an animal. But where he got that, I don't know. Now that chick doing anything to the...
Still twitching a little bit.
Yeah, shaking the head, that's not... What is that? That's just doing nothing. At 25 minutes and 41 seconds, a second check for corneal reflex. Handler states he's done. We can see that there is no reflex on the corneal stimuli. I think I made a mistake, and we can see at least one blink. There. Okay, watch.
All right, he's done.
Good.
Okay. You don't check, you don't tap on the eyelid. That doesn't tell you anything. You check on the cornea. That tells you.
I touch his eye, he didn't even weakle. See, I just give him a little bit.
Okay, and then 25 minutes and 59 seconds, the handler states it's just nerves. We can't see what he's referring to, however, if there's any reaction from the deer, that means it's not dead.
Yeah.
It's just nerves.
Yeah, it's
Heard that before.
There I am, talking with a deer. You got your witness statements, Chris? I'd have... He'll start filling one out for us.
Yeah, because he definitely seen something.
The neighbor?
Yeah.
Definitely gotta get the same load up ahead of the game.
Did that deer just move?
Yeah, because he definitely seen something.
The neighbor?
Yeah.
Definitely gotta get the same load up ahead of the game.
He just moved his head.
Oh my goodness. That thing wore me.
I didn't see that before.
I don't know what was worse, trying to hold him from running away or trying to keep him from running into me. Thank you, sir.
Appreciate it.
That's some gun right there, boy.
Okay. Looks like I wore up for you. Haven't done anything. You understand why I'm so outraged about this video? This is inexcusable. This is inexcusable. Ignorance of the law is no excuse. That's what they would tell you and I if we had done something. Oh, well, you know, ignorance of the law is no excuse. If you're a professional... If you're a professional...
Shoot him in the head. You know, he's not afraid of us.
If you're a professional, there's zero excuse for not knowing what the law is and what appropriate methods there are. Okay, now I had started and stopped the clock at that last corneal reflex check at 25 minutes and 41 seconds. And my clock said 19 minutes and 1 second. That's from 3 minutes and 40 seconds, or 3 minutes and 40 seconds on the video until death, determined by the lack of corneal reflex. 19 minutes and 1 second. I'm going to go back to that statement. Properly performed, blood should flow freely and death occurring within a few minutes. 19 minutes? 19 minutes? That's not fast. Okay, so let me shrink this screen down. How do I do that? There we go. We're going to go back to my Florida sections here. Alright, I'm saying that 828.12, Section 1 and Section 2, we saw that in this video. 828.24, we saw Section 1 and 2. We saw Section 1 and 2 occur in this video. Go read the sections yourself, come up with your own conclusions, in that humane euthanasia, as defined by this section here, wasn't done. There was no humane euthanasia there. They didn't render the animal unconscious, or even unconscious, not meaning like with a captive bolt. They could have used chemical immobilization. That means we drug the animal, we tranquilize it to unconsciousness, and then they perform the exsanguination. They didn't do that. If you're going to render the animal unconscious. So let's tell you how Humane Emergency Animal Rescue would have handled this call. We would have shown up. We would have had a tracker follow the deer and maintain continuous contact with the deer. The other person, which would probably be me, I would show up. I would start working with my tranquilizer drugs. I would get a couple of darts loaded up. There's these variables here, depending on where we are. But I'm gonna get at least one dart loaded up so that I can tranquilize this animal. So when I'm doing chemical capture out in the field, I have to have two people. I have to have my tracker, and then me doing the actual procedures, and then the roles shift. Once the animal has had the dart delivered and the drug in its body, then I become the tracker, and then the other person who is tracking, that's their sole purpose, is to recover the dart if the dart doesn't stay in the animal. Okay? That's their sole focus. We cannot leave a dart behind. It must be recovered at all costs. All right? And so, and then my next thing, I'm going to follow the deer until it goes unconscious. And then it will be carried and transported to a vehicle, or the inside back of one of our vehicles. If it needs to be euthanized immediately, we can put it inside one of our vehicles and do a proper euthanasia. It can then have its head decapitated and be sent to a lab for rabies testing. Everything that you see these people do in this video, from what they actually did to what they talked about, demonstrates a complete lack of training of these people. Even if they're not going to be doing the euthanasia themselves, I'm going to switch over to full screen. Even if they're not going to be doing the euthanasia themselves, they need to understand the process and why things are done the way they are, so that they don't make stupid comments to the public here. Here's this guy from the sheriff's department just saying, like, does he really believe that? Or is he just saying stuff on the fly to try and appease the public, instead of saying, I don't know why we do it this way or that way? Is it ego? I mean, there's a lot of ego going on here, in my opinion. So he inserted himself into this situation, and it may have been a fish and wildlife call and dispatched to them originally, and then he went to this, because that's what it sounds like by the way he talks about that situation. And so I'm going to show up one way or the other and get myself involved, and look at the end results. This is horrific. This animal suffered for a long period of time, at least 19 minutes before its death occurred. That is unacceptable, and there are no excuses in 2023 why that's happening. All right. I know this video's long. I have no idea how long this recording's been going on, but I think that I presented my case, my opinion here. I've shown you what the laws are with the proper techniques for an exanuation. Death by exanuation is through the euthanasia pages. There are through the accepted method that's veterinary recommended. None of this is veterinary recommended under any circumstances. Even if we had been after a hurricane, a major hurricane, and these houses were flattened, that still doesn't make this acceptable under any. There's no circumstances. So I believe I made my case. There, this it was between the house kinds of things. That's a load of crap. So what? The deer is there. I can dart a deer anywhere. All right, as long as there's no people behind it, so that if my deer doesn't hit the mark, my dart doesn't hit the mark, that nobody's going to be in danger from getting drugs that they shouldn't have in their system. But I wouldn't dart an animal under those circumstances. I'd have the police clear the people off, or we would corral the animal into a different location so that it could be done appropriately and safely. That's really a key here. But this is abhorrent. This really, I find this very disturbing and outrageous and unacceptable. And these people, if they stay working with animals, they need to go through a lot of training before they actually. It's 16 hours to go through a euthanasia class. Okay? Unless something's changed. 16 hours to a euthanasia class. They can afford to put them through there, even if these people won't do euthanasia. They can learn what's appropriate about euthanasia. And then they can have somebody like me come and speak to them about how chemical immobilization and chemical capture works. All right? Chemical capture is the darting, the tranquilizing of animals out in the field. I really felt like this is a topical right now when I'm making this video. It's in the public eye. I think it's really important that a professional analyze this video so that if Fish and Wildlife or the Sheriff's Department watch this, they can hear how a professional would handle this and a professional's opinion on what took place here. Because this is... How many more times am I going to say how inappropriate this was? And in 2023, there are no excuses for this kind of insanity to go on out in the field. There's none. Let me know what you think down in the comments on this video. Hopefully you're watching this on YouTube. And then don't forget to subscribe to the channel. It's absolutely free. We need to know that you support us. Like the video, share it on your social media so other people can be outraged by this behavior, because people need to be contacting the Fish and Wildlife, and they need to be contacting... That's right, there's one more thing that I've got to show you on here. Let me get my notes, make sure I don't forget anything. They need to be contacting the sheriff's office and tell them how outraged they are about this, and that somebody needs to re-educate this guy. They're probably their whole staff that does this needs to have that kind of education, because if they typically what you see in an organization like this kind of dysfunction is people like to use systemic in association with things to do with government. This is probably a systemic thing that's going on within this department, and that you've got these misconceptions and other stuff that gets recirculated, and then it's spread around as if it's fact, when in fact it isn't fact. It's just somebody's imagined thing here. Alright, so let's look at... I'm going to close that insanity out. This is Fish and Wildlife's response to this. So let's just go through this memorandum to the Fish and Wildlife officers here, and how long is it? It's not very long. So I'm sorry. Let's do this real quick. This memorandum will serve as interim guidance to all fish and wildlife staff regarding euthanizing or humanely killing wildlife to ensure FWC actions are consistent, humane, and safe. The memorandum will not replace program-specific policies relating to euthanizing or humanely killing wildlife. Definitions, they have defined it, training here for the purpose of this memorandum. The term euthanize shall mean the act or practice of causing or permitting the death of a sick or injured wildlife. And they should actually remove that because this animal wasn't deemed to be sick or injured not till they got on the scene, but they should just be the death of wildlife. But they can leave sick or injured in there. But this animal wasn't sick; it would have been euthanized specifically for the sole purposes of testing for rabies. The term humanely kill shall mean to intentionally cause the death of wildlife that is neither sick or injured. All right, so. Should have read the next sentence. Training. All staff whose job duties include euthanizing or humanely killing wildlife must receive training on safe and humane methods prior to conducting such job duties. Anybody that euthanizes animal in the state of Florida must be a certified euthanasia technician. It's right there in the Florida state statutes. Pull it up. Look for yourself. All right, prior to euthanizing procedure, prior to using wildlife, staff must receive first-level supervisor approval or act in accordance with processes outlined in program-specific policies. Humanely killing wildlife will require a section leader or designee approval before dispatch, before killing it. They should say that. Unless acting in accordance with processes outlined in the program-specific policies. Staff may humanely kill wildlife that possesses an immediate public safety risk without prior supervisory approval. This shall be considered an exigent circumstance. Once wildlife is no longer a public safety risk, a supervisor shall be notified as soon as practicable. Setting. Yeah, I think this is also this is interesting. What they've got in here: wildlife held in captivity should not be euthanized or humanely killed at any privately owned facility without prior approval from the section leader, unless exigent circumstances or in accordance with the program's policies. The reason that is because they screwed up and killed an exotic snake that was worth. The owner claims hundreds of thousands or $100,000 or something like that. I can't remember the exact number. It was a high number based on the potential babies of it, and they killed the wrong one. This is why you got to have people. You have got to have well-trained, high-caliber people to go out in the field and make decisions and perform euthanasia tasks. Just like everybody doesn't get to go out and do chemical capture and work with darting equipment. That's hardcore. That's like going out in the streets and shooting a firearm. And the reason I say it's like that, it may be an air gun, but we're shooting drugs out the end of an air gun there. That makes it as lethal as a firearm. Okay, staff shall make every effort to euthanize or humanely kill life away from public view. Now remember what I was saying about chemical immobilization. Chemical immobilization of sick or injured wildlife may be used for the purpose of transporting wildlife to a location where the euthanasia may occur away from public view. In these circumstances, consideration must be given to the safety of staff and others involved in the transport and euthanasia of the sick or injured wildlife and risk to the public. Additional considerations are included, but not limited to, the density of populated area. I mentioned that before. You can't have people standing behind the deer that you're going to use chemical capture, chemical immobilization on, and the presence of members of the public or the media. We don't care. We want media. Anytime we go out in the field and we do that, we're not going to bring like a news crew with us, but we are going to film everything that we do. We want it documented. We want the public to see what happens out here. Even if we screw up, it's always an opportunity to be better. Hopefully we ain't screwing up. All right, so additional considerations, but are not limited to. Okay, I already read that. Sorry about that. In situations where wildlife must be euthanized, or humanely killed in view of the public, staff shall attempt to obstruct public views as much as possible by using sheets, tarps, etc. They did try to do that by moving vehicles in front and blocking that out there. Why? Why? Why hide those facts from the public? It's so the brass doesn't have to hear the crying outrage by a bunch of people who are emotionally immature, who can't face the facts, the facts of life. We're not going to hide euthanasia from anybody. We want them to see what it looks like. We want people to see what euthanasia looks like. They need to. Methodology. Fish and Wildlife staff shall only use equipment, supplies, and approved methods outlined in the program's specific policies with which they have the training for the purposes of euthanizing or humanely killing wildlife. Hello? Chemical immobilization drugs may be used to immobilize wildlife and transferred to a more appropriate location for euthanasia or humane killing to occur. What did I say? Unless otherwise required by agency policy. Listen to this. This is really crucial here, and this goes to what I just said. Unless otherwise required by agency policy, staff shall not video record or photograph euthanizing or humanely killing wildlife without prior supervisory approval. That's not a law. That's Fish and Wildlife Department policy as they outlined it right here, because they don't want to have to answer for that, because the public can go out of their minds when they see a euthanasia. All right, so what? It's a great opportunity for them to learn and grow emotionally and educationally. Staff shall be respectful of all bystanders, including members of the public, license holders. Staff needing non-emergency assistance may contact the regional call center. Let's see, communications. All right, so that's it. So that's Fish and Wildlife's response to this. Don't film it because we don't want the public to see it and try to hide it from people. The more you try to hide something from people, the more some person like me, I want to know what you're doing. I need to know what you're doing when you're trying to hide things. Because if you got something to hide, I'm more than interested. All right? So there's my case for 828.12. 828.24, and why I believe these Fish and Wildlife officers and these representatives from the Flagler Sheriff's Department are guilty of what I just said. 828.12, 828.24, and then also go to our website, go check it out over there. It's a secret. I'm not going to tell you what's over there. Hope you like this presentation. We will see you in the next video.